My colleague Paul Sisco has more on the story.
My name is Ali Mazrui, and I was born in Mombasa, Kenya, grew up there, and then had my higher education in Great Britain and the United States. In fact, one of the benefits of the colonial experience is to awaken us to a shared identity across the continent.
A frequent guest on Straight Talk Africa, the late Professor Mazrui defined an intellectual as a person who has the capacity to be fascinated by ideas and has acquired the skills to handle some of those ideas effectively. By his definition and ours, Ali Mazrui was one of Africa's greatest intellectuals.
Not the fact that he wrote 30 books and over 800 articles and has all the bona fides of a world-class intellectual, It's the fact that he really made the continent of Africa look at itself in a new way.
His was a lifetime of asking and raising issues and ideas that fascinate, inform, and provoke.
Would Africa have been different without colonization? Yes. Africans have to find out themselves by studying themselves what would work best to produce accountable governments. And then if you ask, are African people free? That's a harder question than whether African states are free, because African people sometimes suffer a lack of freedom as a result of their own governments rather than as a result of the global state of affairs.
After the death of the Kenyan-born African scholar, October 12, 2014, Kenya's President Kenyatta said he was a towering academic whose intellectual contributions played a major role in shaping African scholarship. In the early 1970s, he was invited by Ugandan dictator Idi Amin to be his chief international affairs advisor. He refused the invitation and, critical of the powerful Amin, fled the country, often controversial. In the 1980s, he said, "I want Africa to have the bomb, to frighten the system as a whole," a reference to the U.S. and USSR's nuclear domination. His television series, The Africans, A Triple Heritage, praised Libyan leader Muammar Gaddafi for inspiring Africans to take their place on the world stage, one denied by the colonial powers. He wrote of the American arrogance of power in world politics and of how a terrorist philosophy had ensnarled Islam. Mazrui stood for the importance of critical thinking and free speech. He suggested a Pan-African Security Council, patterned after the United Nations Security Council, to respond to the continent's failed states and coups. Why, he asked, do post-colonial constitutions omit provisions for an impeachment process, writing, "We might have to wait till the second half-century of the post-colonial era before impeachment replaces the coup as a method of African regime change." Again, Bernadette Paulo.
That despite all the controversy surrounding Ali Mazrui, that he was such a gentle spirit in that he used his life to do good. And I read a eulogy that said that he divided us. He really didn't divide us. He provoked us. He made us think. He stirred us up. And in doing so, he effectuated change in the way we look at things.
Making it a better world.
Making it a better world.
And longtime friend and colleague, Professor Suleiman Yang. Your last words?
He came, he performed, and he departed without being forgotten for his words.
Always provocative, the thoughtful Ali Mazrui was a preeminent scholar and teacher whose lessons for a troubled world and continent endure. Paul Sisco, VOA News.